Hopefully I'm in focus. Good morning. It's another bright, beautiful, sunny day here in Eastern North Carolina. And yes, I'm wearing my sunscreen because I'm going to be working outdoors here for quite a while. And skin cancer is a thing. Also, if I can't remove it all from editing, the Marines are flying around today because it's such a beautiful day and they have very loud jets. So as I was saying, today I'm going to be working in the rose garden. So I'm back in the rose garden, haven't been here probably since last year doing any serious work. The deer came through, I think in the fall or midwinter, and they nibbled on the roses. But I think one of the great things about roses, they're pretty hardy. So they've been bounding back. They're coming back quite nicely. If anything, the deer just did a little pruning for me. The funny thing is the deer don't eat the stems themselves, obviously because of the thorns, but they'll get the roses themselves. They'll take the new tender leaves. So it's just one of the challenges that I have gardening here where I am in a pretty rural area, and there's deers amok. There's usually a herd of about 4 to 6 that roam through the neighborhood. I am slowly but surely taking preventative measures. I put down a deer repellent spray, but that gets washed away sometimes when we have rain, and then I don't remember to run right outside as soon as it dries off, or we have rain, dry, and then rain again. It's a thing. So I'm going to be working on different strategies to deter them. You can never stop them really unless you go hunting, but that's bad, and who wants to kill Bambi? Let's be serious. So I will turn around and continue to work on methods to deter them, whether it's putting up a temporary fence or the deer repellent spray or some other strategy. As you can see, I have roses blooming already. In fact, probably this evening I'll have to go around and do some deadheading because some of these roses have been out for a few days and they're already starting to roll over. Everything's coming along well. There are mistakes I've made in the rose garden, and one of them being is some of the mulch I've used. I've used cypress bark, and that was a mistake, as in it's too loose. It's not a tightly meshed thing, so I have a lot of weeds and grass coming up through it, and that's obviously bad. I've let some of the weeding lapse because I've been busy doing other things, so I need to get in here and do more weeding. I have a lot of things to be planting, and I'm going to stop talking right now and tell you what I'm doing today specifically, which is planting one of the David Austin roses I bought last fall, and it got shipped to me about a month and a half, 2 months ago. It's been sitting in a grow bag over on the side of the vegetable garden for a while now. That and the climbing rose I purchased. Now today I'm just going to be planting the one rose bush, and I'll tell you what variety that is when I get to it. And the other thing I'm going to be doing is turning the black fabric that you see here. Now I've been using, if you haven't watched all my other rose garden videos, please go check out my rose garden playlist. And you could see the progress of the rose garden up to this point. This black weed fabric is going to get rolled back a little bit today. It's also now then going to get turned, and it's going to go along what will be the front of the rose garden. And that is the next section of grass that's going to get killed off. So what I do is I just lay it over the top, let it sit there for anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 months. Honestly, I probably won't even touch it this year. It'll probably be a project for next year. But by then the grass underneath will be dead. It's permeable, so all the rainwater will get through. That won't be an issue. And that's the reason why I use weed fabric, is because I want the water to get through into the ground. I don't want to create a situation where there's standing water on top of it. Then I have to deal with mosquitoes or anything like that. So that'll kill the grass off up front, and then I can start planting into the front area next year. That'll be next year's project, I believe. Unless something changes and I wind up doing it this year, but I think next year. But I'm going to roll back the next, I think it's, what do we got, 6 or so feet, planting up one David rose. I think I have a sprinter boxwood someplace I'm going to plant up as well, and that will go. I've been trying to do rose bush, sprinter boxwood, rose, sprinter boxwood. It doesn't have to be sprinter boxwood. I think in between a couple of these, I have some peonies. The rose garden, like anything else, is an evolution. It's going to be a space that will change constantly, as with any garden. Your gardens out there, you're probably changing them around all the time. If you have a very static garden where everything stays exactly where it was day one when you planted it, please let me know below in the comments. But, and I will probably change up the plantings, but certain plantings, for instance, the privet hedging that will go along the back fence line here, that will stay, obviously. It's a structural focal point. The rose bushes themselves, they're halfway in between the beds, so they're 6 feet from the back, they're 6 feet from the front, roughly, and that's where they'll stay. And that will continue all the way around. I will try to keep them spaced so far apart with maybe a non-flowering bush between them, like a sprinter boxwood or something else along those lines. And even those plants may not change. Now the plants that are going to go towards the front, for instance, I have Gaura, I have irises, I have some daisies, I have daylilies, I planted a bunch of hyacinth this year. Those may get moved around over time, and that's fine. And again, as the space evolves and develops, I will probably more than likely be changing out the plantings, but again, the basic structure will remain the same. I'm gonna stop. I do with this all the time. I start prattling on, and then, you know, you don't want to see this, you want to see action. So before I get to that real quick though, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post up a new video. If you haven't checked out the links below, please check out the links below. I have some Amazon affiliate links so that you can help support the channel by going and checking those out. If you click on any of them or buy something through those links, I get a small commission from Amazon, which I can then use to buy more plants. That's always a plus. Also, if you like the music I use in the videos, please check out the link I have below to Epidemic Music. If you wind up subscribing to Epidemic Music, it's a small fee per month, and they have some great music on there. So even if you're not a content creator and you just like to listen to new, original, different music, go check it out, Epidemic Music. Again, if you click on that link, I get a free month. Woohoo! And yeah, so let's get to work. Well, I hope I'm in shot. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a one-man show here. I film this and edit it, and I plant everything and grow everything. So it's tough doing what I'm doing sometimes, you know, trying to make sure I'm in shot and hopefully the audio sounds correct. And I'm blathering again, aren't I? It's okay. So what I forgot to mention in the beginning was I have 4 more golden ticket privets that I've planted up. And hopefully they, well, the ones I planted last year, they'll grow up obviously faster. But in time, I hope to have a nice, full, nice trimmed hedge here, squared off as it were. Again, the rose garden is going to be a more formal garden than a lot of the other spaces in the garden itself because, well, I just want it to be. You could do your gardens any way you like, and I'm doing mine as a mishmash. It's going to be organized but disorganized in some areas. I'm gonna, you know, the orchard that I'm building or that I'm growing won't be straight, perfectly straight rows. I'm not going to do any espalier. I'll put the thing below. I won't be doing any of those trees, just simply because it doesn't necessarily fit my garden style. Now maybe I'll change my mind and do something in the future, but for now, this is what I'm going with. So again, the golden tickets in the back. I have the new, this rose here is another David Austin rose, as I've mentioned a billion times before. This one's Thomas, I believe it's Thomas A. Becket. Twisting, turning. Thomas A. Becket. I forget what the rose itself looks like. If I remember when I'm editing this, I'll throw a picture up. Next to it, I have a small Sprinter boxwood, which hopefully will grow up and fill out over time. I think the boxwoods that I have here in the rose garden, I think I will eventually do either ball shape or maybe a box shape, something along those lines. If you have any thoughts or opinions, please leave them below. I'm always open to hearing what you guys have to say. I'm a complete idiot and I'm a total novice at doing all of this. So I'm just sort of fudging it as I go along, and I'm learning as I go along, hence the reason the channel is called Growing a Green Finger, because I don't know anything really about gardening. I've only been gardening now for 4 or 5 years, and I'm learning as I go along. And especially now being North Carolina, growing zone 8A, there's all sorts of new challenges. The rose garden's coming along. I did the black fabric along the front of what will be the rose garden, or the front portion of the rose garden. Let me show you something real quick. Hopefully my microphone's still working. I know it's getting a little low on power. Over here, I don't have black fabric. In fact, it looks like just grass clippings and wood chips, which is exactly what it is. This area and the remaining sections, the far side and the back side, are all going to be done in a, instead of me buying bags and bags and bags and bags of compost to try to fill in these 12-foot deep beds, to again give the plants a reasonable soil medium to grow in, because again, I'm a compacted clay-like soil. I'm going to continue piling wood chips and grass on top of each other in these spaces. And there's two reasons for that. One, to elevate the ground a bit, because this area during extreme heavy floods, rains I should say, floods. So that will help raise up the soil, as much as I've been trying to do with the compost in the other beds. Raising that ground level up, even if it's just 3 to 4 inches, you know, it brings it up above that. Again, heavy clay soil, plus as I dig into that and I add the soil goodness, it's just, you know, hopefully again, earthworms, bugs, beetles. I just saw a skink running across the beds there. Glistening blue as it runs. But hopefully, again, this will raise it up, and all this material will rot down. This is all going to rot, and it's going to, you know, sink into the ground, and it's going to, again, as I keep piling it on, it'll continue to rot down. So hopefully in 2 to 3 years, when I get to this portion of the rose garden, then, you know, hopefully I won't have to add that much compost to it. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I try to keep these videos short. So I think that's going to be about do it for today. I've been out here for hours. You're only watching a few minutes. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Make sure you follow me over on Instagram. I often post the pictures that you won't see here on YouTube. Please check out those links below again. If you buy something off one of those Amazon affiliate links, I think I get a small commission, which will help me buy more plants. Check out the Epidemic Music link below. Again, if you sign up for subscribe to Epidemic Music, and again, they have all sorts of great music on there. It's royalty free. So if you sign up if you use it in your YouTube videos, great. If you use it just to listen to, fantastic. But if you sign up for that, I get a free month, which is bonus. I think that's going to do it for today. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.